do want to say real quick that I think Evan, what you said was so fire. That's so true. And Jacob and the rest of the managers, that's like really what you guys show. I don't think me or Evan would like, get that same mindset if you guys hadn't like invited us for that. So Jacob, Lindley, Kayla, you guys really are working hard for us. So I appreciate you guys a lot. Yeah, but I'm here to talk about closing. And so I've kind of tried to structure this to go through like beginning to the end of the demo. So if you guys want to take notes, like in notes, that's fine, but you can also take notes on your actual script. So that would be great. All right, so we're talking about closing. And the first thing about closing is just those three things that it helps you get. So it helps the customer get what they want. That's the first thing. It helps you get more orders, and it helps you get higher CPO. So I'm sure everybody loves higher CPO and more orders. A big thing about closing is actually helping the customer get what they want, right? Closing is something you do for a customer, not to a customer. I'm sure we've all heard that 100 times. Greg says it all the time. Really is true. You want to help the customer get what they want. It's actually your job. Your job is to facilitate the customer and help them get what they want. Obviously, everybody wants Cutco. Another thing that Greg is saying in Champs Club, every single person in the world is a Cutco customer. It's just some people haven't seen the product yet, right? When you guys show someone a demo, is there anyone who, if you were giving it for free, they'd be like, I don't really want that. There's nobody who doesn't want the product, but they just have, some objections. Maybe they don't know exactly which one to get, and that's your job. It's to show them what they want, and you are the one who knows the most about Cutco. So be excited about that when you're closing, and just throughout your demo, be excited to tell them about Cutco. I'm always so excited to talk about the spatula spreader because I love guacamole and I love avocados. And a huge problem for me is having like 15, not really 15, like 3 different utensils that I use to cut things open, like when I'm, spreading or cutting something like a sandwich. So I love to talk about that on my demos. I'm actually excited. I really want them to know, you guys, I know that you as a customer take all this time to make an avocado. I know that you take 15 different things. I know that your butter knives don't cut. So I'm so excited to explain to you, look, these butter knives can cut through leather. These, spatula spreaders, it takes you one tool to cut an avocado open. So that's something that really helps out. And just remember, you are the, Cutco expert. So you are the one trying to help them understand what they want. But how do you know what they want, right? So that's where the rapport comes in. And rapport is amazing for a lot of reasons. It helps you with closing. It helps you with recs. But really just helps you get to know the customer. And the more you know the customer, the better you are going to be at closing. So first off, with rapport, another thing that comes along with rapport, it's not just rapport, it's like thought joggers. So you want to ask, what do you like to eat? What do your kids like to eat? Do you cook a lot? Do you cook a little? All those little questions. And they're all in the manual. But those really want to focus on those in the manual. You really make sure, like, you ask them, when do you cook? Do you cook a lot? Something I always say is like, do you cook a lot or do you cook a little? And, you guys have all seen that one. Do you cook because you love to or because you have to? And then if they say they love to, you say, great. They say they have to, you say, great. After that, it doesn't really matter what you say, but it's about later on in the demo. When you're bringing it up later. Oh, remember, you really like to cook. That's why the spatula spreader is so great. It's going to save you so much time in the kitchen. That's why the bread slicer is amazing. You're not going to squish down all your foods, all your bread and stuff like that. So that's where the rapport comes in. You really want to make sure you know your customer, you know what they're doing. But yeah, the actual closing part. So how do you actually close when you're closing? So this is something I actually learned from Champs Club the other day from Maddie. I think Lindley and Evan definitely remember. I kept trying to like do the demo. She kept, asking someone to close, and I kept going, I'll close. And then she would just, bake me because I'd do, something wrong. But that's great. That's why we go to Champs Club. So Maddie really helped me out, and she showed me this triangle. So the triangle goes, it's an upside down triangle. So you want to start big and then go small at the end. So what do you start with? You start with all the pieces in their order. So like maybe not in their order, but you start with, what the pieces that would be in that order. So, let's say you're doing the homemaker, they love the spatula spreader, they really wanted those shears. So you go through all of them and you say this would be your spatula spreader. This would be your scissors. So you go through all those. And then, and this is like closing, maybe after dropping down, or you should follow the manual when you're doing the first close, but after that, this is what you would do. So then you say the value of the order. Say like, this, that, this is like how much it would be. And then you want to say like the value of like what you're stating them, and that kind of thing. The main thing that I want to get to in this part is the zero lift. So I was watching a lot of videos, and listening to a lot of these Vector Connect libraries about how to close and stuff like that. And a lot of things, what they say, how does that sound? And then you silent. So after you're finished listing what they have, after you're finished giving them the price and that kind of stuff, you want to say, how does that sound? And then stay silent. Make sure not to say anything after that, because you could give them like a little bit of bend or something like that. So yeah, that's the closing. You definitely want to just go, how does it sound in zip? But obviously that doesn't ever work, right? Like, how many people have just been like, how does that sound? And then you stay quiet, and then they're just like, oh yeah, sure. What? How about I'll buy the signature, right? That never happens. That's never happened to me, at least. And like a big reason of that, Greg says all the time, you got to get 5 no's before you get a yes. So obviously you're going to have a lot of objection, right? So, very common objections. Everyone gets objections. And like I said, 5 no's before a yes. So what I was originally going to talk about was dropping down. I'm a huge fan of dropping down. I'm super enthusiastic about it. I tell Lindley about it all the time because I think it's just so powerful. When I do it and it works, I'm just like mind blown. Like, how did that not have worked? That was absolutely a gimme. If I just drop down every time, it's going to work every time. So dropping down is a really good way to deflect an objection, to handle an objection to price. So obviously a really common objection that everybody's going to get is it costs too much. I don't want to buy it. It costs too much. Those knives are too expensive. And so the first thing you can do for that is obviously drop down if you're there. So like if, when I show the Siggy right away and somebody's like, that's way too expensive for me. Obviously I'm still going to go. So, they say it's too expensive. Oh, what about without the steak knives? Do you think that would be nice? This is the price without the steak knives. You're only dropping down like $100 in that sense. And then like, what if I threw in the super shears? A big part of dropping down is making sure you really sell each set that you go. You can't just be like, oh, you don't want the Siggy? Okay, that's fine. How about this other set? That's how about this, Studio plus 5? You really have to stick to the sets and sell them. Is price, and a great way to do that, to handle an objection, is dropping down and somebody's like, that's still way too expensive for me. Obviously a really good go-to is the split up payments. So you probably have brought up split up payments before in a demo, but a good way to reiterate it when Mrs. Jones is like, that's still too much for me, I don't know. A really good way to reiterate that is to talk about the credit card trick. This is something Greg was telling us about during Champs Club. So, if they do that split up payment, they put it on their credit card and it's the beginning of the month or something like that, they get those 15 days to try them out. And then if they return it, their credit card gets refunded and you don't get your credit bill until the end of the month. So essentially, if they really didn't like it, they could still try it out and give it back for free. It's something that they could do. And that's actually something that I did recently, a sale ago. So not my last sale, but a sale before that. This one, like these are way too much. These knives are too much. I don't know. I can't do that. A huge one with price is the husband objection. Everybody gets that one. She was like, I have to talk to my husband. It's way too much. And so what I told her, I said, Mrs. North, what you could do is you could split up the payments. She was buying Essentials plus 5, which I think was $747. So, it drops down to like $120, $130. I was like, you could give $130 and then for the next 5 months, and you can return it 15-day guarantee period. So $115 on the credit card. I'm sure Mr. Jones won't even realize that, or Mr. Norwoods won't even realize that. And that's true. Adults, $100 on the credit card, that's not something that someone's going to notice. And, it's not about having them not notice, but you can really put it, you can frame it that way to really help you out. That's a really good way to reiterate that at the end when you're doing that objection. So a couple more objections I'm just going to go over. Let me come back tomorrow. This one, I hate this. Let me come back tomorrow is the worst because you don't know. You basically sold them, right? Like, let me come back tomorrow. Oh, you drop down? Like, I want to sell you what you want, but not tomorrow. I want to sell you what you want right now. So here's something. I was listening to these Vector Connect libraries. They're fire. It sounded like Greg. I don't think it was, though. It was just like a really enthusiastic guy. But here's something I learned, and that I'm going to share with you guys. So let me come back tomorrow. Sure, let me just write that down, Mrs. Jones. I'm just going to write that down just so I make sure, I just gave you this whole demo. I wouldn't want you to forget anything I said. I wouldn't want to forget what set you had. So let me just write down, what set are you going to get tomorrow? Right? So if they start telling you a set they're going to get tomorrow, then tomorrow comes and rolls around, that one's good. But then another thing, you want to keep going. You want to say, let me tell you, what set are you going to get tomorrow? You write it down, give them all that stuff. And then you say, okay, Mrs. Jones, I'd love to meet with you tomorrow, but here's the thing. I'm really, really close to my goal. I showed you my goals in the beginning, President's Club letter, promotion. I'm really close. And I want you to be 100% honest with me. On a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is no way, there's a deal, and 10 is I'm going to buy it right now. I love the set. We really need a new one. Where are you at? Most people are going to give you an 8 or a 7. Most people just say 7. If you give someone a number 1 to 10, most people give you a 7. It's the easy one to give you. So then what you tell them is, oh, you're a 7. That's perfect. So there's something I do with all my 7s, but I want you to be honest with me. You got to give me a yes or no answer. Are you going to be honest with me? Of course, Mrs. Jones is going to tell you, yes, I'll be honest. So something I do for all of my 7s on that list of 1 to 10 is I can throw in some free stuff, or I throw in some free discounts. This is something that I do for people who are almost there. What if I sweeten the deal a little bit? How would that sound to you? Mrs. Jones, maybe we'll see, right? So then you keep going. You say, okay, Mrs. Jones, what would you rather, what do you like? Free stuff or discounts? They'll say, oh, discounts. Maybe they'll say free stuff. That's when you hit them with the best one. This is my favorite one. Why not both, right? That one goes hard. Free stuff and discounts. That one, people love that one when you say, how about both? So at that point, you've written down what they're going to get tomorrow, right? But as well as I do, they're not going to come back tomorrow. So you've written down what they want. They know exactly what they want in your head. And then you've just listed to them. You've just told them, this is what I can do for you because you're a 7. Now they're thinking, oh, I'm a 7. I am really close to that. What could I want to sweeten that deal? And, if you can get to that level where you're saying, okay, how about free stuff or discounts? And they choose one and you say, how about both? That's a killer. And then you would close right after that. So you would say, how about both? And then you would say, and then obviously you see that, oh, okay, I love both. Yeah. You give her the deal and you say, how about that? And you zip your lip. So I love that one. That one is great. I really like that one because I hate that. Let me come back tomorrow. I hate it so much. You can't do anything to that because they basically said they wanted this set. So then you can't just be like, what about this other set? So that one's really annoying. And then one last one that I want to talk about, just because I've heard this one a lot, and this is one that I was watching in that Vector Connect library. I have this is too many knives for me. These are too many knives. I only use 2 or 3 knives in my kitchen. And the reason I like this one is because I was talking with somebody who is a big sneakerhead. I'm a huge sneakerhead. I mean, you guys can see I got all my shoes here. I love shoes. I told Jacob, when I was finished with my fast start, I'm like, I'm going to spend all this money on a pair. So I love shoes. And the thing is with shoes is you can never have enough shoes. It's the same thing with people for knives, right? A lot of people love knives and they want to have as many knives in the kitchen. But people who don't like knives and who don't use a lot of knives, they say I don't need that many knives. I only have 1 or 2 knives. So this is what I told that sneakerhead guy. I was like, would you wear a pair of shoes, just some crappy beaters that you have? Would you wear those to a club? Would you wear those to a party? He was like, no. So I was like, that crappy knife that you have, that junk knife that you have, you're wearing it to a party by cutting a steak with it, by cutting, whatever, a salmon, some nice food with it, right? You're wearing that crappy shoe to a party right there. You want the Yeezys. And if you tell someone else, oh, I don't need to buy Yeezys, I don't need to wear Yeezys to a party. Well, you want the right shoe for the right event. You want the right knife for the right job. Talk about the homemaker. And that's what I was talking about. I was like, Bear has the right tool for it's made for 100%. So that every single time you go out, to an event, every single time you're cutting, you're the right tool. And now, shoes, that's just for me because I love shoes so much, but that's applicable to literally anything. You can talk about any kind of object or something that people like, that people have, high quality stuff like that. Clothes, even if you're just would you wear a t-shirt and jeans to a sales to some big company event or something like that? And someone would say, no, yeah, you don't want to wear your t-shirt and jeans of a knife to your stake of an event. So that's one that I really like, and you can really just use those analogies. And remember, if someone says these are too many knives for me, then that just means they're not using their knives in the right way. That means that they're cutting, a steak with some crappy knife. So that's what that. One last thing I want to talk about is just reiterating that rapport. So I just have a little story. A while ago, I was selling to my aunt, and she told me like the reason that she wanted to get a set was because she had a lake house, and she had just gotten her lake house and there was nothing in there. So she needed to fill it up and she needed to cook. They cook a lot. So I remembered that, and I got back the other day. I had this same exact one with Mrs. Norwood's where she split up her set. But before she was even gonna buy, she said, I can't buy any of this stuff. I just bought a lake house. I have no more money. I bought a lake house. And I was like, look, I understand. She just bought a lake house. And when she was down there, she had nothing to make her food with. She couldn't make, dinner. She couldn't make anything. And then Mrs. Norwood sat there for a little bit and was like, wait a minute, I was just at my lake house last weekend and I had no kind of utensils to make my food. So she bought an essentials +5 for her lake house. Now, I could have said that to anyone. I didn't know that Mrs. Norwood had just had that issue, but it's because of like prior knowledge and like talking with other people that I realized like, wait, when people buy a new house, yeah, they're down a lot of money. They don't want to spend more money, but they need to fill up that new house. I mean, it's the same thing, Max. Like you want, a homeowner and someone over 30 because, they're ready to fill up. So yeah, I hope this wasn't too long. That's just what I wanted to let you guys know. And, that's my talk on closing.
I thought that was phenomenal. Let's give Kareem some snaps there. That was awesome.
Wow. Nice job, Kareem. That was awesome. Look at the chat box. That was blowing up for you.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, everything from the 15-day credit card, put on your credit card. You're not going to get billed until next month. You're going to return at Mrs. Jones and you won't even see the payment. Like, that was awesome. Won't even notice it. And I put a star next to that because now I'm 26. I don't notice $100, $200, $300 charges ever. I'm just like, okay, I got X amount left. Okay, I need X amount, whatever. So it's like when you're older, you don't $100, you don't even realize that on your credit card. I'm 26. I'm not 30 yet. You want to sell them what they want right now because once again, the value is only highest right there. So just like finding methods where if they want it, you can see they want it, just maneuvering to get them to buy it today. Relating with the shoes. And that's why the rapport is so smart. Finding out the knives, finding out what else they like, whether it's garden, whether it's something for their house, whether it's make tools in the garage, whether it's shoes, whatever it is. You wouldn't just have one shoes. You wouldn't have one tool, one screwdriver in the garage. Mrs. Jones, do you just have one ratchet in the garage? Does your husband just have one hammer in the garage? Or like when he needs to change the oil, does he have a tool set? Yeah. How often is he using that tool set? I thought that was, I know you didn't say the tool set example, but same thing there. Lawnmowers, snow blowers right now. Ms. Jones, do you have a snow blower or do you pull it out like every freaking day, every month? Oh no, you only have it for when you need it. I've used it twice this year. Great. How much is a snowblower? Same example. The analogies I thought were fantastic. A rapport, new house. Realize this house, college, whatever they tell you, they're not spending all of their money on that house. You're telling me like, just be logical. No one's gonna spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, whatever it is, 20%, $100,000 on a, $100,000 house or $100,000 or $50,000 down. I don't know, 20%, whatever it is. I can't do the math right now. But sorry, I graduated from U of I 5 years ago. Anyways, no one's going to just dump all their money. I don't know anyone that's 30 plus and just like, oh, I'm going to spend every single dollar on that house to not even be able to eat. They have $200. You have to have that conviction. Ms. Jones, you just got a new house. It just makes sense to spend $200 on a knife set. $200 a month for the next 5 months, you're not going to notice it. Ms. Jones, there's a kid in training today that had Cutco. His grandparents had it 50 years ago, passed on his kid to their kids, and then they have it. It's been in the family 3 generations already. Like just sharing stories like that, and that was from training today. But awesome message, I thought. That was phenomenal. So great job, Kareem. I could tell you studied it and you really nailed that. So nice job, dude. Just to wrap up, because I know it's getting late here.